Hi everybody, it's Robbie from Southern California, and unbelievable, it is September 1st, and yes, I'm going to do a garden tour, and I'm going to start in the bird garden, kind of mix it up a little bit. Maybe I'll walk a little differently that way. Let's look over here. I hope everybody's doing well. These are the dragon fruit that Gary pollinated. It looks like possibly 2 did not make it, but at least we've got 4 up here. So out of the 6, 4 here took. Looks like 1 down there maybe didn't, but 2 more did down there. I see more down there. Oh, I'm not going to climb back there. You know what? Let me see if I can get you. I'm stuck already on dragon fruit. All right. And I think you can see down there, we've got a whole bunch of them right now. So we are doing really well on dragon fruit. We've already harvested some, so this has been fantastic. Probably going to get far more this year than we ever have. I don't know with the ube. It is not a happy plant. It's growing, but see the leaves? The problem is I compost so heavily in here that during the year, through the winter, when I didn't know where to put any compost, I threw it in there, and this soil is too rich. Way too rich. I'm not going to worry about it because what I really want this for is my watermelon. So I've got the watermelon growing. There's 2 watermelon plants I put in here. Let's see if we can get in here. Probably not good. Well, yeah, there's 2 there. See how I planted them in there? Now, keep in mind, I did not plant this squash. I know, it came up in my compost, but I'm looking at it and I see a long type of zucchini growing. So that's a good thing. So I'm going to leave that one right now. There's a small one back there. And any others I'll probably pull out because I really want the watermelon to take off. As far as the ube, they may make a comeback because I see the stems are green. See how nice and green they are? They could make a comeback once a lot of the nutrients are drawn out by the watermelon and squash. So we'll see. It's no big deal to me. So whatever happens, happens. I'm going to leave it alone and let it do its thing. Walking onions everywhere. Lemon verbena. That's that little tiny bush I planted back. Oh, we can walk back here now because I've been cleaning a little bit. And then I've got just the geranium. I'm going to move it in a different area when I'm done. I still have my original back here, oregano. I can't touch the pot. The clay pot is all crumbling away, but that's my original oregano. Do you know, this thing just took off in the past month. Look at this. This is the tree colored. It was a cutting I did, just a regular green tree colored. Kind of moved things around. It's in a pot, which is in a pot. This is crazy. In a small tote back there. And it just took off. So I'm going to leave it for now. What I should do is get, well, if I need them, get more cuttings off of them. But that's how it's growing. I did stake it up so I don't want it to fall over. And what else is back here? There's the original purple tree colored I got on eBay. And that you can do massive amounts of cuttings on. And I am doing quite a few. Remember, let's keep walking. With purple tree colored or any tree colored, you don't buy seeds. You want to get cuttings. This is my compost tea, which is probably another reason the ubes aren't growing. Because I do take a scooper and I do put it in there and they love it. Obviously, look at the plant that I didn't plant and the watermelons are taking off, but the ube, it's too rich. So don't use compost tea or use very, very little on like carrots or radishes or turnips or beets, because you'll end up with massive growth on the top with those plants, but you won't end up with the root because the root base like that is storing food for, let's say, the winter. It's putting food away, and if it's got more food than it needs, it's not going to store it. Those are the 3 totes that are so old and doing good. Look, I believe this is a broccoli plant. There's my mushroom plant. This I'm going to pull out. This is seed, and this is from celery. That's all celery seed. You know how much celery seed costs in the store when you buy it? Gosh, I must have 20, 30 pounds around here, if not more. Why did I grow celery in there? But that's celery, and I'll probably collect some. I don't know. It grows everywhere. If I want a celery plant, I just go find it and put it in a pot. And then it's, you know, still the lemon verbena. And there's, you know, here's the garlic chives just getting ready to start to have seeds. This is the flowers. This is how they start. This is garlic chives now. And then they'll open up. And then they'll get a flower and the bees will come. And then they'll get these black seeds on them. That's just some orange mint. And that's it. See, there's the lemon verbena back there. This was a cutting, dinosaur kale cutting. I think that might be that might be the original plant that was there. All right, now let's keep walking. Let's see what's going on here. Not too much. I'm still debating how I want to do this. I want to tear this whole thing apart and have it look really nice when I sit down here to watch the birds. This is where the birds come. There's that pot. That worked out really good. You might have seen it 2 weeks ago. That's the one I got in the trash. I think we went to my parents' house and they threw it out. It's all broke on the other side. I lined it with plastic pots and then I put more pots in. Now I'm going to replant this when I'm ready. But here I've got like a broccoli growing and that's a cutting of a rose. I took a little piece, you saw it probably early in the year, stuck it in one of my totes and I ended up with that one. And look at this one, how big it is. And then I put them in pots. So those are rose cuttings. This is going to be really cute. I like it. It kind of disappears, doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, and kind of will look really natural. I'm going to get some more wood through there. There's always, tree trunks around. I want to set it up that way. That tote has got that great big purple sprouting broccoli. And I'm really getting close. It looks like actually it may be at the end of life. And that's what happens when they're at the end of life. They start going like this. I mean, it's been here for years. So now that I see that, it just did this. It wasn't like this a few days ago. So now you just gave me my answer. That is going, which is really good because I can clean that whole thing up. I can either move it or work with it, and I'd rather work with it. So I can get rid of that post there and put something else there. Perfect. I just didn't want to take it out since it was growing so well. Oh, I see a dragon fruit back there. I don't know if you can see it through. Let's see if we can zoom in for a minute because I see it back there. See it? So that's the red dragon fruit on the other side. That particular fruit is white on the inside with black seeds. I know there's other varieties that taste better, but I got it for free, and let me tell you something. It tastes wonderful. This is all walking onions that are growing through here, and if you're collecting seeds right now, keep in mind, these are not seeds. I feel bad. I've had a few people contact me that they bought these from somebody, and they won't grow. See, if you leave them and let them start to dry out, I don't have any, this one. This is almost gone. See how it's all dried out? They don't grow back. If they have a little bit of growth on them, they might. I want to put this somewhere because I'll probably do something with it. I'll just sit here. Hopefully I'll remember to come back. When they dry out, they're dead. It's like you would start a seed and then you would decide, let's keep walking. You would decide that, oh, you're not going to deal with it. You'll plant it later. You let it dry out, your seedling that started to grow. And then you go back and you're going to plant it. It's gone. So that's what the walking onions are. They're live plants. So you want to get them in the ground right away. You want to buy them from somebody that has fresh walking onion bulbs. And that's the way you want to get them. Here I'm going to take this all apart. This is Kitty's garden I did a couple years, I think it was last year or the year before. These were cuttings I stuck in here and they all grew. And they're some sort of kale probably. I'm going to take all that out and redo that. I'm going to put broccoli in there only. You know how she loves her broccoli. I'm going to bring her some in today. And then this I'll probably redo. I might even move them. I'm not sure yet. This has got garlic. This is interesting. I did not pick the garlic and see what it's doing because we're going to go into fall in another month. Look at that. It's already coming. It's actually this month later. It's already coming. This is the garlic. Wow, it has spread on its own. So that bulb has spread and the bulb that I left in there is growing. Perfect. I'm leaving it. So it's going to do its thing on its own because didn't get to it. And then I've got other things coming up in here. I've got lettuce coming up. See how it's all coming back? It was all dead. It all died back and it's all coming back on its own. So if you plant garlic and forget about it and think, oh my gosh, I forgot to pull it out. Where did I put it? You'll find it. Even if you're under snow, when the snow melts, it will come up. So will onions. I've got onions going on 2 years, over 2 years, and they come back on their own. See, even here, I'll show you what this is. This is a fig tree. I do not want it. But this is a seedling that fell in there, probably from, guess what? Probably one of these things, one of these collards. It could be a cross, but that's what that is. And then I had a rose bush back there. Oh, I'll show you the rose bush. And I pulled it out. So I'm going to get this cleaned up. This is a unique rose bush. And the reason I say that is I bought it at the 99-cent store many, many years ago. Little tiny rose bush, no thorns. And there are no thorns on this rose bush. So I want to get cuttings off of that. It's kind of got a light pink peachy flower from what I can remember. But it's been tucked back there for years. And I forgot about it. I literally forgot it was back there. And off and on I knew and I'd water it. But I mean, kind of forgot, like, why didn't I pull it out? So I'm going to put it out here where I can get to it, trim it up soon. And then I want to get cuttings because there's no thorns. I can touch it, do what I want with it. What else is growing here? Nothing new. This broke. So I haven't pulled it off yet because it's feeding off the main plant. I do want to trim it off. But if I want to kind of check this first to see if I want to do any cuttings off of it. Because once I finish cutting it, this will dry out and be dead and compost right away. But being that still getting a little bit through here, it still looks really good. See, take the leaves. But look how beautiful it looks. Look how beautiful. It's still growing. It broke probably over a week ago. So it's still doing really good. So when you have something break, take the cuttings if you want. And you want a good size on it. Like if you were going to do a cutting here, you would want to take a good chunk out of it. You want to have quite a few inches to put in the soil. And then you put it in a pot. You can root them in water, but I'll tell you, my experience is most of the time you try to take kale or collard, one of the brassicas, and root them in water, you will tend to rot them. I have had that happen to me, so they will rot quicker. But if you put them in soil that you keep damp, not soaking wet, just water it, like it's a plant, they seem to do much better. And don't put it in direct sunlight because it's really struggling to grow roots. Put it on your windowsill and you'll find in direct sunlight or maybe partial sun, you'll find that they root so easy. I root them all the time. The sweet potato, I didn't plant that. It just came up on its own. And then this is the nursery of the walking onions from whenever, a year ago. Then here I put in a tomato plant. Didn't really do anything but just stuck in a little tiny tomato plant. This is my mint. This is chocolate mint with that dreaded strawberry mint on the corner. See, the coloring is different. It smells wonderful, like a perfume. Did you ever drink perfume? That's what it tastes like. So I really like the chocolate mint. Peppermint, that's actually my favorite. I was thinking what else, but the orange mint, I actually put that in, let's say, a salad or in eggs or something. The chocolate mint and the peppermint I use for tea. The spearmint that is growing all over, last year it grew more. We haven't had any rains. Even watering, everything dries from the heat. Even though today we're overcast and we're going to be that way again tomorrow. That's why we get powdery mildew so much. We used to drink a lot of spearmint, and we would mix that with lemon verbena. The way I make it in so many different ways. But I kind of got really used to, I like the chocolate mint and the peppermint with maybe some stevia, and that's it. So I really like that. That's an old sage I got years ago. Let's see, what else is there? This is Dalzine blue kale. I really need to get cuttings off of that. Isn't that gorgeous? Because I know something's going to happen to the plant. I had one there that died back. Yep, it's gone. That's just branches I tied up there for the birds on the post. And I want to get cuttings off of that, but that is just really, really pretty. Tomatoes didn't do that great in there, and I didn't cater to them. I didn't check them. So probably the birds ate them. Then the eggplant, they've been doing okay. I'm not sure if there's any eggplant here. This is why I don't get eggplant. See the yellow ones? I didn't realize there's two yellow ones. I'll tell you something. Perfect time to collect seeds. When they're yellow, they're ripe. And they're hard to eat. Gary will eat, he'll eat it, but I don't eat it. It's very bitter to me and kind of like metallic. And so I don't like it when it's yellow. You want it when it's purple. So I should have picked them when they were purple, but Gary's been bringing it in eggplant from his garden, and then on the wall in the driveway, I've been picking it constantly. So I just kind of forgot about those and forgot about that one too, because looking down, I see more eggplant down there. I'm not a big eggplant eater. But anyways, I guess they did okay. And then what's back here? And that is that plant I really like. That's a hybrid, and I think it's a three-way. I'm not going to get into that, take too long. But I think it's a hybrid, like a cross between a kale, a collard, and Dalzine blue kale. It won't be a tree collard because they haven't seeded here yet, but they did in the front yard. It's this plant. I really like this plant. As we start to go into late fall, when the weather cools, these leaves get big and round and just the darkest green. And it came up from seed in there. It's such a big plant. So I want to do cuttings off of it because if I collect seed from it, it won't look the same. You could collect seed off a plant that's been pollinated by bees with a lot of different brassicas, and then you won't know what it's going to be. Even each seed could be a little different. So you would end up with a whole bunch of different plants. But that one is so nice. So I did a cutting on that, and it took. It's in a pot with big holes. So it can get big if it wants, just like my tree color that was here years ago, and it was like 15 feet tall. It's going to send its roots out into the soil, and the soil here is really, really bad. It's like rock hard. But it will do its best, and it will last for many years. And so I put it in a pot, because this way I know it's got water. Let's see, what else is here? Nothing. Gonna put chairs in here. I'm gonna get rid of this cage for the birds to feed in, or redo it. And I want to set this up with a few chairs. Here's my moringas that came up on their own. I didn't even plant them. Gee, I wonder where they came from. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't pick the pods and they fall. And I started watering and I saw they came up. And this is really cool. So I'm leaving those. And I do want to set up chairs, as I was saying. This is what I'm excited about. Let me see how many there are. There's another cutting under there. Oh, yeah. My daughter brought me a whole bunch of pieces off her hibiscus. Oh, this is a couple months, 2-3 months ago already. And look at this. Looky, looky. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my, all 5 took. That's hibiscus. So if you're growing hibiscus, this is what I was saying on rooting them. You are much better to root them in soil. I just put it out there. It's got a lot of shade, so we get some sun and shade, and they're doing fantastic. I'll just leave them from now, and then when I'm ready, I'll transplant them into another pot, and I'll give them each their own pot. But those are cuttings. This is just nothing. This is just where we compost the leaves for the papayas here that are growing in an 18, it might be a little bit bigger. I don't know if it's bigger than an 18-gallon tote. They stretched it. But when you compost in here, it's feeding the soil, and as you know, their roots have left. I see Gary put some wood chips around here. And so they're in the ground, so they're getting, they're reaping the benefits from that because it's all turning into compost tea for them. And that's why we're getting, let me step over here, a whole bunch of papayas. We can't even pick them as fast as we eat them. Look at that. We can't pick them as fast. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter. We have so many, he brings them in. It's like, I'm not a big papaya eater. I'll eat a little, but when he brings them in, I'll tell you, the dogs go crazy. The Yorkies love to eat papaya. See all the birds, look at that. They're on the top there. They're looking at the fig tree because the figs now are just giving off their fruit, and they all love their figs. Here, I just have to groom it. I've been getting tomatoes. Look at this. It's an old plant from last year. And I just pick them as I need them. Here's another one down here. Look at that, 2 of them. And where is this one even growing? That's a good question. Okay, it's in the bucket there. So that's growing in a 5-gallon bucket. That's some Malabar spinach next to it. Look at the size of the leaves on this thing. Oh, I picked the biggest the other day and ate it. Look how big the leaves are. Isn't that gorgeous? Let's see what else is over here. Nothing, just a moringa. I cut that thing way down. It got tall, but it didn't do much, and that's okay. This is going. This is all. I look at this and I see compost. This is going to get chopped up and put back in here, and then I'm going to decide if I want to leave this here or put something on chairs. If I want to grow something and keep anything out like rabbits and stuff, then you put it on a chair. If you don't care, like Swiss chard, you could just tool it around, or squash. But I do better with squash in other parts of the yard. I think the birds come in here because, well, why do the birds come in here? The birds come in here, the house finches, the goldfinches. The white crowns are not here, but they will be here very soon, and they come in by the thousands. No joke. And they will just eat a lot of the new plants. Certain plants, they love squash leaves. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. If I'm doing mint, I can leave the mint on the ground. Maybe I'll just set up a whole bunch of chocolate mint here. But if I do something else, I could lift it. These are too big to lift. So I would have to move these around, which would give me the opportunity to move them somewhere else. But no hurry, I've got so much to do. Let's go through the gates. Yes, the problem was this year I had all these plans. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then found out I don't have enough hours in the day. I can't stay up all night all the time. So I'm not going to get everything done that I wanted, but now I stopped. I'll go into a 2-year plan. Really, in the winter, I think I'll have more time. I'll come out here and do a little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, I finally got this finished. And that's my potato mint. This is the African potato mint. This was supposed to be moved into that tote, but pieces are falling in there and it's growing on its own. I will reorganize this later. This loves it here. It loves the late afternoon sun beating on it. It's amazing, but that's what it loves. And they grow little potatoes and they taste like potatoes. The only difference with potatoes, you can eat that raw because it's in the mint family. So you can eat it raw, or you could just wash them up and drop them in soups. You can fry them with onions, chop them up, do what you want. They're small. They have all different sizes, but I love that, and I would like to get tons of that growing. It's easier to grow than potatoes, and I like the idea you can eat it raw. And very few things bother it except for the rabbits. That's why I had to tool it. See what I did here? And I'll tell you, I'll show you in the front yard. If you want a tool, but you want to get into it, I can't hold back far enough. You are much better off to use clothespins. I like the way the clothespin holds the tomato stakes. You can use any type of clip you want. Something that you can move it, service it, and then pull the tool back. I zip tied some, but then you can't move it unless you cut the zip tie. So I really like clothespins, but you can do back and forth, whatever way you want. I don't know if I'll do strawberries like this again. Or put it this way, less strawberries. Strawberries get a massive root system, and there's not enough room. Look how big the plants are getting. They are struggling because there's way too many strawberries in there. So I'll probably separate those later and kind of think about how I want to do it. We're almost there. We're almost there. I know you want to see how I'm going to set this up. This is very important to me. And even if I don't get to it this year, but I'm sure I will, this is something that's important for plants when I'm growing plants. But right now I'm making compost tea, so we're okay. Same thing on the strawberries here. I think I'm going to redo the strawberries. This is doing good. The squash plant died back, and I trimmed it, fed some compost tea, and I've got a squash back there and more coming. So the squash plant is doing all right. It's a zucchini plant, but it's growing with a tomato plant. And you really don't want to do both together in the same tote like I'm doing, because they're both heavy feeders, and this tomato plant just took off, and we've been getting big tomatoes off of this one. So I've got a tomato plant back there. I'm not sure, more cuttings. I think there's a couple more hibiscus cuttings in there. And then I've got all these are broccolis that you see up there, and I've been using them, but I can't even keep up with them. There's been so many. I think I'll take this piece off and bring this into my little Yorkie. She loves it. Kitty, she loves broccoli. And the other ones don't like it. Oh, here's more tomatoes. Here's more broccoli. Isn't that beautiful? See the tomatoes? Isn't that gorgeous? So I've got tomatoes in here, and I need to string this up a little better. And then here I planted a yellow squash. The yellow squash didn't grow that good this year, and I'm wondering if it's because we get these hot days, and then we go into this cooler days with these mornings that are so cloudy and damp, and I don't think they do that well. So I'm not sure. I do much better with plain old zucchini, any type of zucchini, but the yellow squash didn't do well. This is lettuce. So I'm going to go around and start collecting as much as I can. I know the birds have eaten most of the lettuce seeds. This is Korean melon. Look at that. I've got a Korean melon growing in an 18-gallon tote with broccoli and lettuce and even a cutting. Isn't that cute? Of some sort of brassica, some sort of kale, probably kale. And then let's see, and here is my watermelon. Look at the watermelon. Unbelievable. Look how big. I mean, it doubled in size in like 2 days. That thing is massive, and there's another one back there. And I know there's more. There's another one back there. And I made this makeshift thing. There's another one in the front. Look at this. It's just a ladder from the trash, 2 chairs. It's leaned up. Oh, what can I say? I wanted something fast and quick. That's all I wanted to do, is put something fast and quick up, because it's not a long-lived plant. In a couple months, it's going to be gone, and I can just take that away. See the bird? He flew. He didn't know I was here. And this way, I can just, move it all out of the way, but it's going to do really, really well for me now. And I've got more Korean melon back here. I see. No, wait. No, that's a watermelon. That's another watermelon. I thought that was cream melon. This is pepino. This is from Gary's yard. That will be a permanent plant in there. The watermelon, by the way, is growing in there. When this takes off, and it looks like it really is going to, this will be its own tote. I will cater to this because this plant will live for years and years. And it grows those little, they're in the nightshade family. They're like a tomato, but they're almost, if you leave them on when they're starting to turn yellow, they taste like a melon. They're real sweet. If you take them off early, you can chop them up and use them as you would in stir fry or whatever other vegetable. It's a very unusual fruit. And you do find them in the grocery store because that's where we got our first pepinos. I think I've told the story on that. I was at the grocery store and I called Gary. I said, they've got this thing. They have like a section in the produce department, just a regular big grocery store, the ones we have around here. And I said to him, I've never seen this. I don't know what it is. It looks like an egg and it's white. It's going to be like $1 or $2 so it wasn't cheap for the little fruit. So he got all excited. Oh yeah, buy it. And so I brought it home and I can't remember. I don't know if I kept any notes on it or videos. I can't remember if I bought 1 or 2, but inside there was only a couple seeds. I remember that much I remember. So when you open it up, it's not like a tomato. You're not gonna find a whole bunch of seeds in there, but there was a couple seeds, like 3, maybe 2 or 3. So we planted them and they grew, and I had one in my garden for years. It just recently died, but maybe something got to it. I don't know, but he has it all over his yard and his garden. And the thing is, when they hit the ground, they'll re-root. So they root really good. So you can have the thing going forever. So I just didn't take cuttings off of mine. I forgot. So anyways, I lost it. But now I took that little piece up from his yard and it has turned into a massive bush here. So I will cater to this. I've got some kale back there and that is growing in the same 18-gallon tote. You know, I'm not sure. That is a Korean melon down there. There is Korean melon in here. I believe there is. This is Korean melon. Yeah, this is the Korean melon. So there is Korean melon. That's going to be something also that's going to disappear. So it won't bother the pepino because once it's done, it's done. You pull the plant out, cut it out, compost it. Look at that. I love my black cobra. Look at that. I'm not real big on eating it. I'll use one if I make a salsa. That is so incredibly hot. I don't know if you really want to hear the story on it. Let's see if we can do it real fast because I can talk real fast. I bought 1 pot just before lockdown last year, probably early March. Went to the 99-cent store. I looked at him. It said black cobra. I called Gary. Do you want any black cobra? He goes, hence. He said, hint. He said, cobra? And I said, well, I don't know. He didn't like hot spicy at the time. He loves it now. So he said, oh, I don't know. You don't really need it. So I bought 1 pot. It had 3 plants in it. One was about that big, which is the one that's in Gary's yard. Gary's got one in his garden. And then one was that big, and then one was a little bigger. There were 3 in 1 pot. So when they seeded them, they grew 3. The other ones only had 1. I still have the original one. The second one went to my daughter, the medium one. And then Gary ended up with the little one that wasn't doing good up here. But this one, against the wall, we'll go over there later. I found that plant early in the year. It was coming up among some Malabar spinach, and I pulled it out and put it in a pot. So this is layered. See, it's got its own pot, and it just took off. So I'm very pleased. I haven't grown any from seed only because it was so hot. I didn't want any more, but now he took mine, and I'm happy with that. Basil here, and the bees are just starting to come out, even though the weather is so cloudy. So the basil's doing really, really well here. And then this is, like I said, this is the only place right now that's got the watermelon. 4 watermelon plants in 1 18-gallon tote, I'm going to say is too much. But I want to see if it works. And I made this makeshift thing back there. I'll show you when I get it in how I'm going to do this. But I think I can get this thing to survive enough to give me some watermelons. If that works, then I know for a fact I'll be able to grow 4 plants. And they suck a lot of food out of the ground because they're heavy feeders, just like zucchini or any of the squash or tomatoes. I think I can do it. I don't think the mustard is going to hurt anything. So for now, I will leave the mustard. This was purple mustard. I bought it from Baker Creek, but this isn't the original seed. I planted them early in the year. They grew really big. We ate them. And then the seeds, it went to seed, fell back in here. And Gary, I think, yes, he did. Gary took some, the little seedlings that were coming up. And I left a few plants in here. And That's why I think they're green, because it's a second generation. It could have hybridized, or who knows. I've noticed a lot of seeds lately when I buy them, even heirloom, when I replant them, they don't grow the same. So I don't know, but I don't think it's going to hurt the watermelon. The main thing is to get that thing fed, and though I am making compost tea, I want to do a little bit more with that. I want to compost in place there. And right now I can't. I don't know. You know, maybe we can go on the other side. I'll show you why. Well, maybe you can't see, but see the roots in there? I don't know if you can see in there the roots. You've got to think on how many roots each of those plants have. I know that I can grow watermelon with 1 watermelon plant per tote. I did it last year all over the place. But that was 1 watermelon plant per tote. I now have 4, so it's got a massive root system. So I have to keep that root system happy, and that's what I'm trying to do. More broccoli, the tomatoes that I just squished some tomatoes in there. Ended up with 100 tomato plants. You do better if you have 1 or 2 tomatoes in a tote, not that many. That's ridiculous. I'll probably end up composting this eventually and then putting something else in there. This is just an asparagus plant. I grew a whole bunch of seeds on the deck, and Gary took all the plants, but he left one he didn't know. And I moved it here. So I just kind of for fun to see what happens to it. And then this is that nursery thing I did. And I created a nursery. Look at the tomatoes in there. You see that? So this was a nursery to show how well you can grow seeds in totes, in a tote even to start it, and they grow really good. I've even got peppers. This is a pepper plant. I've got everything in there. So there's a lot of stuff, and look at this. I think this is 1 or 2. I'm trying to look. 3 red roselles. I did plant them in there. They were supposed to get moved. Beautiful. Look at this. Isn't it gorgeous? And I didn't move it. This is going to stay. I'll probably start taking some of the tomatoes out that aren't fruiting. I don't know, but I keep dumping compost tea in there, so it will all go. So far, everything's going. Oh, I didn't show you the pizza garden. I suspect a hornworm. I know I found one, but I look and I suspect a hornworm, and I can't find them. But you know, everything's growing. The tomatoes got overgrown. They got so big and heavy. Some of them broke a little bit. See? This one broke. I'll just get the tomatoes off, no biggie, and trim it back a little bit. But I pulled a massive amount of peppers off of this. I love the peppers. This is basil. I probably didn't plant the basil on top. A seed probably got there. Look, more peppers. I wanted to get all the peppers off. And the reason I wanted to get all the peppers off, look at this. It's gorgeous. Oh, I'm trying to get there. Is because, oh, look, a little leaf miner. I'll take that off. You're supposed to burn these. Oh, come on. But anyways, you want to get them off because the plant could end up stop producing. And well, it's not going to really die, but it can stop producing fruit. And it's unlike tomatoes that will keep going and going. A pepper plant can stop. So I had to cut this back. Because remember, I think I showed you, I got a really big hornworm that chewed it all down. And I trimmed it back. But it's making a comeback. Beautiful. Because this is one plant. Look at that. So I think there's 1. Maybe there is 2 in here. But it's made a beautiful, beautiful comeback. Oh, come on. I see all these things. Burn them. Burn them. I'm not burning it. It's just dropping in my compost tea. It's not going to live. Yeah, I've read things. You find it, you got to burn them. I don't burn it. And you know what? They don't even do anything to it. I've noticed the plants will do fine. I never got to this. There's no holes in here, and I'm growing stuff. This is because I hadn't decided if I really wanted to grow there or not. So I put the tote there, and I threw some soil in there, and I see more seeds coming up. Probably tomatoes. Anyway, so we're done with here. We're going to walk around, do this a little differently. How should I do this? You've seen the papayas 100 times. So I don't think I need to show much with the papayas. They're loaded with... Should I do the same circle? All right, we'll do the same circle. Oh, this is the back side. Oh, wow. There's another watermelon. I didn't get to this yet. Few of you have asked, have you gotten to the cart yet? No, I haven't. This is the little thing I'm going to put in there. My watermelon. Hopefully today. I'll probably be rendering this video instead all day. And let's see. I should say editing. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. But there's going to be fruit all over here because look at this. There's just fruit everywhere you look. More and more watermelon. I can't believe it. This is going to be amazing. Now this I can bring along the back. And that's going to be guided that way. So we'll see. See the watermelon behind the chair there? Okay, so that's the back side of the chairs. Same thing. There's garlic in there. Oh, see, I didn't look today. There it is. I did not pick the garlic. We had so much garlic from that garlic I did early in the year that I bought from Walmart. I didn't want to see any more garlic. So Gary picked a whole bunch. I picked a whole bunch. And I just didn't do anything. Well, now it's making it come back on its own, and I'm going to leave it. I'll get rid of the lettuce that the birds have been chewing on. I'll crush the seed somewhere and see how much seed is left, because I've been leaving this for the goldfinches. And we'll go from there. Let's see what else is here. Papayas. Yes, like I said, we have so many papayas. I've given the neighbors, and I think everybody's sick of papayas here. But more back there. Gary's picked a bunch. Never got to these totes, but that's okay because these are mainly for composting in place next to the papayas. We compost in that only. Throw all the leaves, or if there's a papaya that's rotten, that goes in there. You water that, and it's just feeding that. And that's why it's massive, because you really need to compost for these things. They're heavy feeders. Talk about squash plants and stuff. Papayas are really heavy feeders. I've had people come to me and say, I've got all kinds of papayas and they won't grow, the plants. I said, well, get a tote next to it or a bucket, start throwing your kitchen scraps, leaves, everything back, and you will get it grow. And then I found out later that they ended up with fruit. Oh, fruit beetle. Fruit beetle almost hit me in the head. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? I took one of these tomato plants that were over on the chair down there. I pulled it out. Gosh, I was early on. Stuck it in here, and this is a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. It's kind of like those Brad's Atomic Cherry Tomatoes, except they're a little bigger because it's a hybrid. But I know these are going to be good. Almost ready. Okay, you know what? I shouldn't eat on camera. It's not polite. This is why I end up with tomatoes everywhere. Oh my gosh, so good. I don't know, but these tomatoes almost taste like grapes. Gary loves them. The hybrids taste like grapes. They're so sweet. That is really good. All right, now let's walk through. Oh, Gary's collecting stuff. Let's walk through here. See, I've got a lot of chairs. Even that he found in the trash. I want to set up totes on chairs. It keeps things up. You have less squirrel problems. You have less rabbit problems. You have less problems, period. I have found by putting things on chairs. I absolutely love chairs. And for you all that said you gave me 2 months before the chairs collapsed, what are we, into a year and a half now with that 30-year-old chair back there, and all is doing good. Let's stand back and admire this for a minute. My mess. Do you realize I haven't planted anything in here? I've got tomatillos growing through here. I had the tomatoes that kind of died back in here because the tomatillos drew everything from the tomatoes, and that's fine. I've got this tomato, the one that Gary likes, came up in here, so I'm leaving that. I've got garlic chives growing back there from last year. More tomatillos here. A little yellow but these are purple. Oh, yep, these are going to be the small purple ones. There's more back there. I don't know if you can see it back there. So this, all I have to do is clean this up. I really have to just find a day to come out here and clean it up. I know I told you I'm going to refresh this tote and put something in it. I'm getting really close to, it's a draw between growing zucchini in here or putting my potatoes somewhere. I haven't planted my potatoes yet. Maybe that's what I'll do. It gets a lot of sun. And I'm going to run out of time. I don't know how late you can grow potatoes, so let's do that. Oh, this is just this is sow thistle. And see, nothing's been taken care of. I barely hit it with water. This is leftover celery. I want this out and composted. Then, of course, the San Marzano tomatoes are still growing. It really needs some loving care. And yet, look at this. And I pick them. I use them when I make pizza. I haven't made pizza lately, but I use them when I make pizza. I use them when we have tacos or enchiladas. But these are massive. No work. Look at the size of this. This is unbelievable. Then I've got more tomatoes here. I mean, look how beautiful down there. They're red and black. Those are ripe. Let's let the helicopter go by. I've got lettuce coming up here. Just lettuce that's fallen because we've got a lot of old lettuce in here, so it's dropping seeds. It must be really a good time to grow lettuce because I am finding lettuce everywhere. So I need to start getting serious and get a lot of lettuce growing. This you want out. This, I'm going to pull it out right now because I keep coming out here. I didn't get it. This is a pepper tree. It's either a pepper tree or a carrot wood, and I'm not sure, but you don't want that. And I'll compost that. I need to get that out. I'll take it all the way to the ground, and hopefully it doesn't come back. I think it's carrot wood. It smells like carrot wood. But then I've got the tomatoes here. Again, I didn't plant this. I didn't plant any of this. There's a pepper plant back here from last year. Could you imagine if it had a little loving care? Look at that. So I'll keep that, and then I've got some sort of brassica. I've got an onion back there. Just clean that up. You know, I didn't want to take a lot out because I had a lot of sow thistle, and the birds have been suffering with the weather, and the temperature gets really hot in some areas, and then there's smoke and fires. I think we have more birds here than usual because they're probably not going up north because of all the fires. They can't find because of the drought all the weeds. I mean, the hillsides are all dry. Gary had very little weed abatement because nothing grew. So they are just desperate, and they'll eat even some of the celery seeds. They'll look for insects in there. So I've left a lot. Let's see, popolo. Let's walk on the other side. This is a pepper plant. I didn't even know there was another pepper. And there's a little red pepper I did not get. So I need to cater to that. And again, tomatillos grow. Look at this. Look at that. I love their little lantern. Look, these are the small, I think these are the small green ones, but they might be up. No, same plant. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, that's one plant and this is another one. So this is the purple. See the purple veins? And then I'm not sure because there's two plants in there. Let me see. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. See, you know what? That's good for both of us to see. One of them's got a purple trunk and one of them's got a green, and it came up in that flower pot. I definitely have to put something else in that flower pot. Some wood chips or some soil on top because I can see the roots. Just a little. Don't overdo that. I did it once and I killed the plant. Just a little bit, maybe some compost from another tote, just a little bit, and then cater to that because that's really cool. So I've got two of them growing in here. I've got the purple tomatillo because I grew them both. And so that one has a purple stalk, kind of like mint. The chocolate mint and the peppermint have dark stalks. And then this one is the green. It's green. I like that. I think I'll cater to that today. More lettuce coming through here. I haven't done anything in here. I think it's, I was going over here. That's right. I think it's really cool that all this is doing it on its own. And I'm getting food out of here. Popolo. This particular popolo plant grew all year. When I say that, it grew all winter. It stayed small because it wasn't happy with the winter, but it stayed shield because see how low it is? See how this goes down? It goes all the way down to there. It was shield. So I had a small popolo and stayed there all winter, and then as soon as the weather warmed up, it took off. I'm not big on popolo, so I'm not going to plant a lot of them, but Gary loves it. So that one is doing fantastic. So this toad I wouldn't do anything with. This is the squash plant. The only thing that got moved over here, I brought the pot over here because it came up in there. And I have picked squash. It's kind of a hybrid. So it's a hybrid between a zucchini and something else. And that's basically it. So not bad for something I didn't do anything. My nectarine tree, the avocado tree that came up in the wood chips. Then I still have my sage. I've got onions grow. Yes, I've got walking onions in there, and I see that they have baby walking onions too. And then these are all the apple trees under there with the flowers. That's good. This is garlic chives. This is what the garlic chive flower looks like when it opens. And this brings ants and bees. And then it's going to turn like this. It'll dry out. This is good. Look, I can show you. And there might be some seeds left. Or something ate it and there wasn't seeds. I don't see any seeds. But they're black seeds. Oh, that's a pomegranate tree coming up with the apple trees. And then there's another apple tree there. These are just seedlings. They're probably going to grow terrible apples, but who knows? I'll probably graft. All right, what else do I need to show you here? I haven't done anything in the truck bed yet other than water it. I do have tomatillos growing here. This came up on its own, so I'm going to leave that. Take yellow leaves off, throw them back. I've got some Swiss chard in there. I'm going to trim the Swiss chard back. I'm starting to do that, and then line this all up with buckets, and then I can plant whatever I want in there, be it for, you know, fall garden, because right now, what am I planting in the fall? I am doing cuttings of different kales, collard, things like that. I've got broccoli growing. I just planted some pure collard. So I'm getting a few different things growing, and the Swiss chard will come up too on its own. So I'm going to line that with buckets because the soil in there got really hard. Gary put sand and stuff in there. I don't know. It's not my thing. He does his thing differently than me. And to me, it got hard, which means I'd have to go in there and dig it up and put some kitchen scraps and leaves in there. I am not going to do that work. But if I put buckets on top, chop all that down, drop and chop, put the buckets on top of it, the earthworms will come and the microbes, they'll eat all that up. They'll work the buckets for me too. And everybody will be happy, including me, because I won't have any work. Pomegranate tree. Nothing new here. I shouldn't even bother walking over here. I need to trim this down. This is the chia plant. And get a lot of the leaves out of there. It kind of fell over. It never flowered. I don't know if it's going... Wait a minute. No, that's not flowers. It never flowered, but it got massive. Really massive. That's another pomegranate. And then, like I said, I haven't really done anything here yet. I hope to. I will. And the pumps aren't working because we have no sun. This is what I got out of the tote. I think you saw this 2 weeks ago. Look at that. I do need to trim this down because I don't want this laying on my wonderful sugar cane. This I grew. Oh, look at the bottom split off now. I haven't looked for a few days. Look at that. That's going to be packed in that bucket. The bucket's got holes, not all the way on the bottom because I didn't want the tree roots to get it. But that's really cool. That's a black sugar cane. My daughter gave it to me, and I think you saw me get that little crummy little piece. It grew. Haven't done anything in here. He's got the mosquito fish in all the ponds, so we don't have to worry about anything. So that's just duckweed, I believe, on top. And then that's pretty much, you know, I know we didn't do the driveway. Let's keep walking. Squash coming up from my compost in place. That's all. I have to either decide what I'm going to plant in there or get most of them out and leave one or two. More garlic chives, of course, tomatoes, walking onions, more tomatoes. Some of these squash plants, they're still growing squash. I'm deciding if I'm going to put new ones in. Look at this little moringa. Here's the problem. There is no soil under here. So it's in that pot, and it's got to send its roots this way because there's a massive footing for this thing. So that's why they're not going to grow good, but that's all right for now. More squash. I'm not getting to everything. This I have to decide what I'm going to do. I have papaya plants growing everywhere. This is papaya from the compost I had put in there. Again, all garlic chives back there. Nothing in here. I think I'm composting. Yep, I'm starting to throw stuff in there. I'm going to plant something. Tomato plant. Kind of growing odd, but I was thinking about taking it out, but it might end up being a good winter plant since it's up against the wall and it's got a massive root system. So I'm probably going to, you know, put it up, get some stakes in there and keep that for the winter. I may not put any squash in there. This squash plant is well overdone. So I'm probably going to get rid of this. Oh, and here I put a couple, I hope it's not too late. Some cucumbers in here and then 2 squash plants. I can't remember what. Is it marked? Oh, yellow zucchini. You know, I don't do well with yellow. I grow some, but they don't grow like the Black Beauty for me or the coco zale. I've been getting a lot of coco zale and gray squash. But the gray squash, which is there, tends to grow and then the plant kind of dies back for me. The coco zale came back and grew a whole bunch the other day. I pulled some off. Oh, so good. But the Black Beauty just seems to grow better here. I don't want to grow a lot of hybrids right now. I'm trying not to because I want more garlic chives. Nothing done here. I really like the Black Beauty because I have found that if I can get it established, it will grow all winter. My favorite. I absolutely love this. I like the way it looks. I like the way it takes care of itself. When you water the top, you walk away and it slowly drips to the bottom totes there. I would love to do the entire wall. And if I told you I was going to do the entire wall, we would be here next year. I'd be watching this video with it looking the same, saying, yeah, didn't get to it. So I'm not going to tell you if I'm going to do the entire wall. because I don't know myself. I stick these in. This is aloe vera flowers. That's in there so the orioles can come in here and collect hornworms. They do not like landing because of the trichomes on the tomato plant. So this way they will land on that and then they can go onto the plant, reach over and get the hornworms. But they don't like landing on it because the trichomes are sticky and it gets all over their feet. And just like it's hard to wash off your hands, it's very hard for them to wash off, and they know it. The young birds, I've noticed, don't, and then maybe as they get older, they don't want to go in there. So by sticking sticks in there, just branches off of trees, in with your tomato plants or your peppers or even your tomatillos, that will encourage the orioles, if you've got them around, or any birds that are eating, well, let's say any birds that are eating hornworms or worms, they'll have some place to land. Do have a small watermelon here, but I don't know if it's going to make it because this tomatillo, they're really sucking the life out of everything. And there's the tomatoes. And these are all coming from that one plant on the bottom. And look at this. And we keep picking. We keep picking. And then here I haven't gotten to it. There's my broken toad that Gary ran over. I clipped it. He clipped it. What's the difference what he did to it? It's gone. I'm going to flip it around and do something with it. I'm almost there. What I am going to do is I want to redo all those big totes. Those are big. They're like 30-gallon ones. So I'm going to get to that when I get to it, hopefully soon. I'm almost done with this. I'm debating if I'm putting a top one. I might put a top one. I don't know, but I've got some squash planted down there, and I'll see how that goes. Now, here's the problem. This, again, is squash coming up from the compost. I have no idea what it is. But I did plant some cucumbers back here. The cucumbers are not going to grow like that because they don't have enough sun. I did this over there in my favorite spot. I planted more cucumber plants in there and they started to grow, but they couldn't get past all the other plants and get to the sun, and they died back. I'm going to have to sacrifice some of these squash. Being that I don't know what they are and I know that they're hybrids, I might pull them out. I know I won't disturb the cucumbers because these two are brand new. I could just yank them out and plant them anywhere, and if they grow, they grow, or I just cut them at the base and leave them and compost them. First of all, there's too many squash plants in there, number one, for anything to happen good. And number two, I really want the cucumbers. So I'll kind of go from there. I've got a zucchini I just planted in there. I don't believe that's a zucchini. This is the zucchini and it's marked. So hopefully that zucchini grows. And then same thing, the one with the basket. I don't think that's a zucchini. Yep, that's a zucchini. I'm not sure on the other two. They're probably coming up from here. And that's a zucchini. So we'll see. Do I have same thing in here? I've got 3 cucumbers. To me, the cucumbers are the most important. The only reason I haven't trimmed that much out yet is we're cool today, and we're going to be cool tomorrow, and then they're talking about another heat wave. With a heat wave, the plant will protect the baby plants coming up, the young cucumber plants. But if it's going to stay cool, then I need to get them out, and even so, I'm going to have to trim them back, so we'll see. And that's it. I've got my compost tea back here. I've got my new scoopers I made around all over. Eggplant, we've been pulling the eggplant. There's a pepper plant back there. I don't know if there's a pepper on it. There could be, maybe not. I haven't looked. Oh yeah, let's see. It's green. This is a red one, so we wait till it turns red. This is trying to lean more towards the sun. It shouldn't even be here. I'll probably end up moving that purple tree color. That's lettuce. This is all lettuce seed. A lot of it, like I said, I'm leaving it for the goldfinches, so I don't know how much is left. I crushed one the other day and there wasn't that much left. This is the original Black Cobra from over 1.5 years ago. We get a lot of fruit on it. And this is where I found the baby growing on the bottom. It was growing through all the Malabar spinach, and I looked and thought, oh, that's a baby cobra plant growing. So I pulled it out and I moved it, and that's the one that's growing in the rainbow garden. Lettuce coming up. This was a system I tried. I didn't make a video on it because I don't know if it's that great. It worked. Basically, the bucket's full of water. But it worked. It worked. I planted them different and they both worked. So, I don't know. Okay, and then here's the Malabar spinach. It is going up to the sky. I don't know where it's going to go, but I need to get another stake on that and let everything just grow up. I think it looks so pretty. And I like the berries. The berries, they're saying now, may have some nutrition, but it has no flavor, so it's really good to dye things. So if you wanted to make a pink lemonade, but you had nothing to put in it that's pink, you could take some of the berries and blend that up, strain it, and you'd have beautiful kind of a magenta type color, and you can put that into things. And I have done that. I made pink frosting for my granddaughter for her birthday a couple years ago. All right. These are the leeks I got from Walmart. One of them has died back. The other two, well, we got the seed. Well, there's some seeds there. I got the one that had the live plants on it. And then the other one did the same thing, which is here. Oh, this is a plant. These are alive. I'll take one and show you. I've got to get them off anyways. You cannot save these. Like the walking onions, it's a live plant. And let me tell you something. You can plant these because Gary's planting them and I'm planting them. In my pocket for now. It's growing both ways. It's supposed to grow seeds, but that's just phenomenal. And then, of course, the one that stopped, I think, it's already coming up from the base. I thought it was gone, but it's producing again. The original plant is coming back again. A fig tree back there, I've got to get it out. I don't want the fig tree. More garlic chives. See, this is all lettuce seeds. I want to crush that and get more lettuce growing. I don't really want to go through here quick because there's nothing new. More peppers. A tomato plant. An old tomato plant needs a good pruning. You know, kind of cut back all the brown leaves off. I don't trim my plants as far as suckers and stuff off, but I do take off any yellowing or brown leaves. There's no use to leave that. I just have to say one day I'm going to spend out here and just get it all done. That I can plant in at any time. This has got green sorrel. Again, everything you see that looks like this, that's all lettuce seed. And like I said, if I'm not planting it right now, let the birds eat it, and then I'll crush it and see what's left. This is that Goliath tomato. It's still growing tomatoes. I think there's another one up there, so we'll see. It's from last year. It's over a year old. Just a cutting. Just as a cutting of purple tree color. More Malabar spinach that found its way in here. I did not plant it. I think it's a really cool plant. I have to get you, look at the little pepper plant here. Just a little pepper plant. I've got to really get used to eating that because it's supposed to be really good for you. More pepper plants, more green sorrel. That's struggling in there. There's too many plants in there. I've got to get the geranium out and put it in a pot. Put it in the bird garden. Moringa. Look at that. It's growing pods. No, not yet, but just the flowers, which is really cool. Celery. Nothing. I didn't do anything here either. This is all from last year. I think we've got Swiss chard in there with walking onions. Nothing. This is just garlic chives that came up. Garlic chives from down there. Celery that needs to be trimmed. This is what I did here the other day, a couple days ago. I came through here. I really need to drape some tulle on here, and I'll show you why. I crushed a whole bunch of lettuce. You know, a bunch of lettuce. And this is all that came up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I can see right now. And that's okay. If only 6 come up right now, that'll be perfect. They'll grow big and beautiful. But see, I covered it. Let me get this thing back up. Like this. Probably had it like this. Which is fine, as you can see, but it doesn't cover back here. You see, I'm trying to see if you can see. See how that's open there? So by not covering that side, I think a bird got back there and started chomping off the leaves because he couldn't reach this one the way it was covered and he couldn't reach the other ones, just those two. So I really, like I've done in my videos, just drape some tulle over it. Just drape some tulle and clothespin it and that will do it. So I'm going to do that later today. I got to get all this out. Old celery, tomato plant that came up on its own. Any of the tomato plants that are coming up and growing that nice, I want to leave because that will give me, hopefully against the wall here, winter tomatoes. And that's my goal on that. Another eggplant I didn't pick. This is just an avocado tree that's come up. I should really, I should yank it out and maybe I should put my potatoes in here, even a squash in here, but something in here because that's not doing any good. Orange mint, or I can put it in a pot and see what happens, or I could take it all the way down there and just plant it somewhere and Let's see if it lives. And then if it does, you definitely really want to graft it, because I've had some of the avocados from their rootstock and they're very stringy. You would have to put them through a sieve or something. They've got strings. It's really hard to eat. It's kind of odd. They taste good, but they're stringy. Carrots are still in here and not picked. But these are carrots. See the carrots? Here's what I've got. I've got a ton of carrot seeds. So I should collect this is all carrot seed. Collect my carrot seeds, and that's it. This is where I grew the potatoes, and I realized they're still in the house. They look fine, but I've got to get them planted. I've got some basil back there. The only reason this basil grew, it's sitting here with a plastic food container cut open, and nothing got to it. That's a carrot wood tree back there. This little thing is carrot wood. Ah, we got the root and all. But this basil plant grew in that cup because what's going to eat it when it's real tiny is like roly-polies. There's the carrot wood. See, Mama dropped a seed. And we don't want it. We have enough carrot woods. So I can just drop it back in there. This all has to be groomed. All lettuce seed. All lettuce seed. It's an old tomato plant in there. And that's what I was saying. This one, after I took the potatoes out, I put some soil from another toad in there. I disturbed the roots. Tomato plants don't want their roots disturbed once they're established. No biggie. As soon as another tomato dropped in there, it took off and started to grow. So I have a new tomato plant. So we do not disturb the roots. All right, let's see. Where are we going to go? Let's go in the front yard. And we'll end it there. Look at this. I'm just looking at all the tomatoes. I come through here so quick because I haven't worked back here. And I just water. And that's all I do is water. Except for the lettuce I put there. And I really need to pay more attention. All right, let's go in the front yard. Okay, now we are in the front yard. I think it looks really cool. We brought those chairs there, and we do sit on them when we have a few moments. Trying to see what's going to make it in here and what I should plant. I have gotten some squash. Look at this. A caterpillar got to this. This is caterpillar. When it's birds, it's chewed with holes and on the edges. But when you see it cleaned up like that, I can even see the remnants, the droppings from the caterpillar. I don't know where he is. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I don't need the greens, and it really won't kill the plant. You would think it would kill it. It's not. It's going to keep growing. Another month, there won't be that many caterpillars anyways as we go into fall and into winter. Now this is tomatoes that I really need to get in here and groom. There's a couple different types of tomatoes in here. This is there it is. Sorry. This is the Sun Gold hybrid. So what it grew was tomatoes that are orange, but they don't look the same, but they're still orange. See, they're all orange. I don't know if you can see that through there. See, they're all orange. Let's see. There you go. So with a little grooming, it'll look really nice. And then we've got another cocozelle here. It stopped, but I started making the compost. Oh yeah, there's squash. There's the cocozelle. And this, there's another one. Oh, cool. And more. Cool, cool, cool. Now, this is what I was saying earlier with the tool. See how I put the tool on? This is zip tied. So it's a pain to try to bend over and groom in here. Look at sunflower seed grew here. You know sunflowers? It's the seeds in there. You can't do anything. I would have to cut this and take it off. But when you have a clothespin, you can just take it off in a second, do what you have to do, and then clothespin it back. And I prefer a clothespin. So all in all, see, that's another, I think that's a yellow squash. They don't seem to grow that well. Maybe they grow really good in early spring and then come late, let's say late summer, they don't grow that well. Need to groom all that and figure out something better in there. That's a cutting of a geranium. And my goodness, they like plant food. So that's all I can say. Purple tree collard. I do want to move that. I really don't want that in there. Sweet potato, my daughter bought some special sweet potato, and it was a small little plant. It is taking over in there. Then I've got more squash in here. I think this is it labeled? No, it is not. Oh, if I saw one I've been picking, I can't remember. I think it's a Black Beauty. There's another one. Then remember, all the tomatoes in here came up as volunteers on their own. And I let the best survive. Again, more yellow squash. See how small they are compared to the regular zucchini? I did grow yellow squash, I think, in the beginning in the spring, but they don't grow the plant for me. And that's why you have to figure out for your area too, what grows better. There's always things that grow better. And I think the yellow squash for me doesn't do that well. I planted it years ago and I wasn't real happy with it and I stopped. Then I planted one last year and I had one yellow squash or two. But the zucchini, the Black Beauty, and the cocoselle, they do really, really well too. Let's see what's in here. Cocoselle. See the stripes? So cocoselle is a winner for here. The gray tend to grow a bunch of squash, even if you pick them small. And then I've noticed for me, they die back. And then the Black Beauty, of course, will go even all winter if in the right place. So that's a cocoselle. And then you've got, let me see what I have in here. Okay, this is a Black Beauty, but I just planted it. So we'll see what happens. And then this is just tomatoes. Cutting of a tree collard. Let's swing around here. More tomatoes. You've seen all this. Oops. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? We keep picking and picking and it keeps growing. Just beautiful. And then I've got a little geranium in there too. A fig tree coming up in the soil that I've got here. I'm slowly using these and that's why I left them. This is like almost hard packed soil. A lot of it is like our clay, just stuff that got moved around and I wanted it. And this is what I'm using it for. This is blacktop. I cannot in here put a stake. So I would have to put a stake in here in order to see how I tooled the whole thing. And I'm so happy I finally got to it. If I tooled inside my tote, I would be pushing on the leaves. Some plants are not crazy about being touched like that. Kind of restrains them. I'm not crazy about it either. But the way I did it in the containers, I can even pull that one back a little bit more. And, oh, maybe not with the camera. And give it even more room because it's gotten so massive. But with that, I can put stakes because the soil is hard. Not hard, but you know, it's not real loose. And I can plant in there too. I'm starting to drop in some bits and pieces of mint. So I'll have that growing. See how I have a stake in there with the mint? And if you look up, it's holding up the tomato. See the tomato plant? Well, I can put stakes, tomato stakes, anything you want in those containers. But as far as here, I literally have inches, like 2, of no soil. It's just blacktop. It's a place to park. But with this, I can now control this. This is just a pole I rolled up and put some clothespins on so it won't blow in the wind. It got really windy. There's another one. Just kind of rolled it and put some clothespins on. But with clothespins, and then I didn't have a stake long enough, so I zip tied it. Put a little bit of masking tape, and then I zip tied it. And then on the top, see, that's what I'm saying. I can come in here and take care of anything I want. I'm really only trying to keep out the rabbits and the squirrels. The squirrels won't touch the netting here. I'm happy on that. Because he comes down the tree, and he was taking my tomatoes from here, and he watched me tool it. And he still comes down, but he doesn't touch the tomatoes. He hasn't touched this since I put it up, and it's been up for a while now. There's all my tomatoes. So this has worked out really good. So if you have a place that you want to stick a stake, but you've got the same problem, you're on a patio, just get some flower pots, fill it up with soil, try to make it a little bit tight. Don't put rocks or wood or anything on the bottom because you won't be able to get the stake in. Make sure it's all heavier soil. And then you can put on the top some potting soil if you want to grow something like any herb or anything, parsley or something. And then you can use that so you could put your stakes in there, and it's all the way around. So there's 2 there, 1 there and 1 on the other side. There's 1 there and 1 on this side. And then you saw there was 1 there and 1 on the other side. And now the tool is just, that is a Nuttall's woodpecker. They can get loud, but if you ever hear them screaming, then it's an acorn. And I saw those the other day. That was the first time I saw an acorn woodpecker come through, and they're beautiful and massive. And my neighbor called me. What the heck was that? It went through his yard 2 days later, and I told him what it was because we've never seen them up here. And I think what's bringing them in is there's food and water, and the weather's been different, so different birds have moved around. We've got probably 60 species of birds now, not counting the hawks or anything that come in here. But anyways, going back to this is the perfect way to put stakes out. So this whole thing is being held up by just those 6 pots, the 2 there, 2 there, and 2 there, and all this tool will stay there. Then you've got your clothespin, and you can just drop it down and service it 1, 2, 3. I literally can get in here, see? Get in here, take care of anything I need to take care of, and then just flick it over the top any way you want. I do like putting balls there. The ball is so I don't poke myself. You've seen it in some of my yard videos of different. It's just I glue it on there with a glue gun, and you know it's rough on the top, so it stays forever. It really does. I've had it for years. But a little ball, like a little pom pom, and then it will also keep it from tearing. But just the clothespin alone has been helpful in that, and that's about it. You know, the yard here is doing really good. I'm very, very pleased. Okay, let's walk down over here. This tool has held. Oh, this is the pom pom. See? By laying it over that, it doesn't tear either, so it's been really good. But this is mainly so if I bent down at night, I won't poke myself, and it's softer. And those have been on for years, like 3 years now, and they just stay on. And then here is my turmeric ginger, and the stevia is trying to peek from the back there. I took a piece and I grew it on my deck, so I've got some stevia now growing on the deck as well. I'm going to have to figure out, I've got a different way of growing it now, and so I'm going to have to find more places to grow it, and I may grow it. I don't know where I'm going to grow it. I have to find different places, because what it likes is it likes early morning sun. It doesn't like the hot. See how it's gotten brown? This is just burning. A lot of it burned when we had heat waves going through here. So the edges, I mean, you think about it, the edges are thin, so the plant can pull up moisture, but the edges got burned from the heat. That's all, from the sun. Even though it only got morning sun, you know, that was enough to burn it. It's not hurting the plant, so I wouldn't worry about that at all. Got these growing. They're small, but they're small for a reason, and it doesn't matter, so they're going to grow and give me turmeric. This one is getting ready to plant in. I'm going to plant in there. That's what I was saying. If you're going to put a stake in it, I load a bunch of wood in here and then soil from other totes or whatever you want, potting soil, but you don't want to do this if you're going to put a stake. You won't be able to stick it. Can't stick a stake in there. So if you're planting, using that, and you want to plant something in it, but want to stick a big stake in there to hold something up, it won't work. But for this, it's perfect. It will break down. And that's it. So all in all, everything is doing really well. I've got more turmeric in here. Those are small because of another way I'm growing them. So I've got multiple ways of growing them, and we'll get into that real soon. These will probably grow really good until we get cold. The moment it gets cold, they'll die back, and that's when I'll really do a harvest. I hope this year I really get to. I didn't get to a harvest. I harvest as I need, so I can pick out any time I want turmeric or anytime I want ginger. You can just pull it out, cut off what you need, and put it back. I don't wait for it to dry. Some people say they wait for it to dry. Just take off what you want. But now I'm planting what I eat. We'll get into that soon. So that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this. And see how see from here you can see how the tool is set up. Hopefully I'll have all this gone soon. And like I said, I'm just taking my time. Let me tell you, doing a garden tour, I do all my own editing. I know most people do not, I found out recently. And Gary and I do our own editing, and that's what takes so long. Maybe Gary should send his editing out, so this way he can do more videos. I do all my own editing. So going in and editing this, you would think, well, just put it up. You can't. You've got to put it together, and then you've got to do what's called rendering if you're putting up a big video, let's say on YouTube. And then that takes over an hour. Probably this one will take an hour and a half, and then to bring it up onto YouTube, that's another 2 hours to render it and have it brought up. And then just go through it, and I don't think there's going to be really a lot of editing unless I drop in clips. I got to find my acorn and put on there. So that's what takes so much time. You would think, well, I've got the rest of the day to plant. No, I've got the rest of the day to put this together. But you know what? I love doing it because I work with Photoshop as well. That's something that's been kind of like a career of working with Photoshop because I do artwork on that. So that was easy. And then I had to learn how to edit, and I'm still learning. But it's fun. You're all helping me. So with that, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this. And all in all, I can't complain because that's one thing we don't do is we do not buy any produce for ourselves to eat. I think the only produce I buy for ourselves, for Gary and I, would be mushrooms because I'm not growing mushrooms. Kitty, you know why I'm back so quick with broccoli? Because my battery ran out. So with that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. She's off and running. Bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Hi.